Good morning. I'm the Reverend Rachael Hayes. Oh yeah, we can do that now. Good morning. Good morning. I am the Reverend Rachael Hayes, minister of the Unitarian Universalist Society of Amherst. Welcome to you, old friends and new, young and old, on Zoom and in the sanctuary. You are an essential part of our service today. Whether today is your first or your 1000th Sunday in our midst, we are stronger because you are with us. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. Just as you are welcome here. Today, we're remembering those who have died in the last year or long ago. What we have received from them in our lives and across deep spans of time is part of who we are. Come into this time made sacred by our commitment to be together. We gather in this sanctuary and by the grace of digital connections woven together into one congregation. We come to remember. We come to honor. We come to love and be loved. Come, let us worship. I light our chalice this morning with words by the Reverend Florence Caplow. As we kindle this flame, we honor and remember those who have passed into the mystery. Their brightness lives on in our vision. Their courage lives on in our commitments. And their love continues to bless the world through us. I light the chalice on our altar, and I invite you to light a chalice, candle, or lamp where you are too. A 12th century poet wrote, "'Tis a fearful thing to love what death can touch, to love, to hope, to dream, and oh, to lose. A thing for fools, this, love, but a holy thing to love what death can touch. For your life has lived in me, your laugh once lifted me, your word was a gift to me. To remember this brings painful joy. 'Tis a human thing, love, a holy thing, to love what death can touch." Alice Walker writes, "To acknowledge our ancestors means we are aware we did not make ourselves, that the line stretches all the way back, perhaps, to God or to gods. We remember them because it is an easy thing to forget that we are not the first to suffer, rebel, fight, love, and die. The grace with which we embrace life in spite of the pain, the sorrows, is always a measure of what has gone before." In Blackwater Woods by Mary Oliver. Look, The trees are turning their own bodies into pillars of light, are giving off the rich fragrance of cinnamon and fulfillment. The long tapers of cattails are bursting and floating away over the blue shoulders of the ponds. And every pond, no matter what its name is nameless now. Every year, everything I have ever learned in my lifetime leads back to this. The fires and the black river of loss, whose other side is salvation, whose meaning none of us will ever know. To live in this world, you must be able to do three things: to love what is mortal, to hold it against your bones, knowing your own life depends on it, and when the time comes, to let it go. To let it go. As the music plays, you are welcome to light a candle in memory of those you have loved and those who by their survival made your life possible. This day of memory is not complete without remembering the 750,000 who have died from COVID-19 in this country, and the 5 million who have died around the world. I light a candle for all of our joys amidst all of these losses. I light a candle for all of the other sorrows that might feel overshadowed in the face of this grief. Light a candle for healing in this time. I light a candle for hope, for what this world could become. I'm grateful to hold this moment with all of you. The last year and a half have held so much loss. So many beloveds, those who died from COVID-19 and from other causes, many of whom we could not mourn in our customary ways. Your loss is real, even when the mourning can't take a shape your body understands. We have had so much loss, and one loss can spark the memory of another. I find myself remembering people who died decades ago, other deaths that made no sense, except for the fact that everybody dies. We experience these losses in our bodies, sometimes over and over again. The hand unheld, the unique hug we'll never feel again, silence where we want to hear a voice, a beloved face gone from our sight, except in pictures. Where in your body are you holding this loss? Does it feel tight or hollow or stretched out like worn elastic? Hot, cold, heavy, floaty, slow, fast. What does this feeling feel like for you? Let your attention come to the part of your body where you feel this feeling. Say hello to it. Ask the feeling to sit alongside you or across from you, like a friend. We're not going to judge this feeling of loss. We're going to keep it company. Let it tell you all the stories it has to tell, even if it's the same story over and over. Even if it's a shaggy dog story that bumbles along, one grief running into the next. Even if there are no words, only tears. Keep this loss company as it rants, cries, screams, and whispers. As it gets up and paces, awkwardly makes toast and forgets what it's doing halfway through. Tell the loss that you won't turn away, that you won't forget, that you will be forever linked. Because you will be forever linked, whether you treat this loss with kindness or try and fail to ignore it. It came with you today. It goes wherever you go. In many cases, we haven't had the opportunity to mourn in the ways our body understands. We haven't gathered with family and friends, at least not in the ways we usually do, to mourn a death. We haven't left the door open to be consoled. Many of us have held our grief alone, or with smaller communities than we would usually have, each of us under the weight of our own grief, rather than supporting each other through parallel struggles. Everyone has lost someone. Even if you don't know someone personally who died in this year and a half, you are participating in a congregation that was built through the decades by people like Debbie Davis, who died in April. She made us greater, and we will miss her forever, like so many others. And one loss so often brings up others. Each of us may come leading an invisible parade of grief, unbeknownst to those around us. Please, be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with each other. Each of us holds some sort of loss, and each of us will die. There are few certainties in life, but this one is universal. Each of us will die. The world is touched by each of our lives, all of us, whether our lives were short or long, famous or obscure. We don't always know the legacy we leave behind, but we do leave one, to those who knew us best and to those we meet at the bus stop. Your life has touched others in ways you will never know. If all of us will die, if all of us have a legacy, we can ask ourselves what kinds of ancestors we want to be. Some ancestors inspire, and some must be overcome. Whether we have descendants of our bodies or not, each of us will leave a legacy to those who come after us. In the last week, I have listened to stories of those of you who came to remember and place things on the altar. Parents, family, partners and spouses, friends, mentors, movement ancestors. Each of them left so much behind. And someday, someone will sit with losing each of us, just as we sat with our losses today. Someday, someone will reflect on our lives, the struggles we faced, the choices we made as they face the struggles and choices in front of them. Or maybe they will simply remember the person who smiled at them at the bus stop on a hard day and wonder whatever happened to her. Those of us who touch our lives live on through their deaths, through us, and back, all the way back. And those of us whose lives we touch will carry our ancestors forward. And us. And all the way forward in any possible future. Spirit of life and death, of love and loss and meaning, we hold so much grief. We give thanks for the lives of those whose love has made us who we are. We hold the loss of them tenderly. May they rest well, whatever that rest may hold. May we draw inspiration from their lives. And may we create lives that leave a legacy of love and freedom for generations to come. Blessed be. Amen. This meditation on immortality was written by the Reverend Leslie Takahashi. In the daily weave of our lives, those who have died are still strong guiding threads. Theirs is the golden glimmer, or perhaps the brilliant red or melancholy blue. Still, they are part of the whole cloth of our lives. They are the ancestors, the goers before. Through this, we know immortality. In the hour-to-hour rush of our daily tasks, they travel with us through something they taught us, which is now ours to do. Something they loved, which is now ours to carry out. Something we shared, which is now ours alone, and yet not. Through this, we know immortality. In the minute-to-minute grasp of where we are, we remember the joys our departed gave us, which opened us up to hope, the sorrows we knew together, which taught us strength, the life shared, which is now ours to steward. Through this, we know immortality. In the second-to-second pulse of life, we sense the spirit of those we have loved and lost. This presence is too shy for naming, too amorphous for full knowing, and yet as real as the days we shared. Through this, we know immortality. They are more than remembered. They are memory itself, for what we love lives on in the way our beloved dead accompany us through our life. Their words and wisdom our guide, their humor our relief, their restless concern for the world our charge. Through this, we know immortality. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Yeah. As we get ready to end our time together, I invite you to rise in spirit and in body if you wish for this closing blessing. And you're welcome to do the motions with me if you choose. We send our love to those gathered in our circle today, to the larger circle of all beings, to the ancestors who made this day possible, to the generations who will come, and to the earth which nurtures us all. We give thanks. Go in peace.